Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a little tutorial on how to add drivers to F1 Manager 22. We'll do it a little bit in a hurry so we can get through this as quick as possible. We will do this by editing an existing save file. I have a few files saved from day one into the game, so I can just add and patch some things in on occasion. First of all, though, you are going to need three things to begin with. You are going to need Python 3. That's one part of the equation. Number two is going to be DB Browser for SQLite. That's another application you will need to download, and you will need to download the Save Unpacker and Repacker from Aranactu. I will insert links down below in the YouTube video later on, but for now, bear with me. I will show you the basics. What we are going to need is the following thing. We are of course gonna need the Save Unpacker and Repacker. I've already downloaded it and I've placed it in this directory right here. C files, users, my username, SavefileRepacker. Here it is. It comes in a zip file. You can extract it and it's gonna be called like this. I will just delete these two files because this is basically how it looks when you extract it. It has script in it, that's a Python file, and two other files you can just delete. I think it's a readme file and something else, I don't even remember. They're useless, you can get rid of those. But anyways, remember the location of this little folder right here. Now we're gonna look up our save that we're gonna edit, so we can add a driver in there. It's gonna be a non-existing driver. We are not gonna edit pictures and stuff like that because frankly I don't know how to do it yet. Maybe someday soon. But anyway, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna find our actual save we want to edit, and our save files are always stored in RC file, or at least depending on how your disk is called. Users, in my case it's Cesco app data, local, you go down to F1 Manager 22, saved, save games, there we are. The particular save we are going to edit is going to be save 13, our little unlucky number. So what I'm going to do is right click on this one. I'll make a copy of it. Whenever you're going to do some edits on save games, make a backup of your original save if you don't have one, like me in this case. So I'm going to close this folder here. I'm going to right click in the SavefileRepacker folder which we opened earlier, and we're going to paste our save file in here. So this is basically how and when it begins. What we're going to do now is look into here, and you can see that we're going to need our command prompt, and our command prompt can be accessed by here. Here it is, my command prompt. I'll run it as an administrator, yes please, and you'll see this is the standard directory put in here. Now we are going to have to change this directory right here into directory right there. So how are we going to do that? What we are going to do is I have my command already put here. It's going to be cd quote unquote and the end c users Cesco SavefilePackers. As you can see, I'm going to copy this by right clicking here. My computer's in Dutch, so excuse me, I'll translate it as good as I can for you. We're going to return to our command line. I'm going to paste it into here. As you can see, this is the folder location for where I have the script file from the SavefileRepacker and the just inserted save. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my command prompt, I'll press enter, and voila, my location has been changed to this. Well, what does this mean? Nothing yet basically, but what we can do now is unpack our save game, and we are going to do that by adding this green line down here. Oh, there we go. I'll just copy it. There we go. Now please do remember, my save is called save 13.7. save. Your save might be called something else. That means you will have to change this part right here into whatever your save game is called on your computer. So if your save game is called save69, you're going to call this save69.save. That's basically it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert the whole line in here, and what this is going to do once I press enter is the following thing. It loads quite quickly on my screen, but as you can see in the folder we had here, where we had our save to be edited and our script file, we have now a new folder called result. That's exactly what we want. We want to go open result, and you'll see in here 4 files: backup 1, backup 2, chunk 1, and main 1. Main is the file we are going to edit through our program called DB Browser for SQLite. So we're going to run the DB Browser as an administrator. And again, my application is full in Dutch because I'm from the Netherlands, but what we're going to do is open a database. That's probably what's going to be called in English. So this is just a random folder. We're going to look for our SavefileRepacker location. It's going to be users, in my case, Cesco, SavefileRepacker, result, and there we see backup 1, backup 2, and main. We need main. And what it now does, it loads the whole table, or in other words, the whole database you have in main. Here you can edit a lot of stuff. You can change staff members, drivers, which we are going to do now, and a lot of things, including driver numbers, etc. So what we're going to do to edit a driver in here is going to be the following. We are going to need a certain rule in here. We are going to have to browse everything, or we can just browse through this, because we are going to need staff underscore common data. Luckily it's all alphabetically here. Staff, where are you? Staff underscore common data. There it is. What I'm going to do is right click on staff common data, and in English it's going to be called like something through browse through the table, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to browse through it. It opens up a new screen. It's in the table staff common data, as you can see in your left upper corner. So what are we going to do? We're going to add a new driver, and every driver or staff member in this game has a staff ID. Lewis Hamilton, driver for Mercedes, has staff ID number 1. Charles Leclerc has staff ID number 2. Alexander Albon has staff ID number 3, and so on and so on and so forth. So what are we going to do? We are going to drop down all to the end, and we can see the latest addition to this database is 290. It's Aaron McNamara. I have no idea who it is, but basically he's not a driver, because all staff types 0 are drivers. 2, 3, and 1 might be the head of aerodynamics, the engineers, etc. I haven't memorized them all, but again, we are going to need number 0 as a driver. So what are we going to do to add a driver in this database? We are going to go up here. It's this icon with the green plus, and this is going to be called in English insert a new record into the table. That is what we're going to do. I'm going to press it, and it will create a new line down here, meaning we can add a driver into our database. Our driver is going to be randomly generated, basically. So what we're going to do, he's 291. That's a staff ID, remember that, when you're editing your own drivers in your own database. Our first name, we're going to keep it quite simple. We're going to just lend the name from someone else. In this case it's going to be Federico, a nice name, and that's easy for me, so I can just copy this line right here, and I can paste it down there, Federico. I'll call his last name, or his surname, Massa. There we go. Copy that one, paste it down there, so voila. You can change his nationality. For all intents and purposes, we'll make him an Italian in this case. There you go. Now, here you can add your date of birth. For example, we're going to make our driver 22 years old at this moment, so that means he will be from 2000. I'm going to edit that one, and for now his date doesn't really matter all that much. so he can be born in I don't know, November something, November 21, November 21st. Awesome. But what you are gonna need is a corresponding number, like these ones here. He has to be 22 years old, and the number that determines it is gonna be this line here, DOB. It's a certain type of code I can't recognize. It's not HTML, it's something else. But I'm not as familiar with it as maybe some of you guys might be. But I do know from experience that Lando Norris in this game is 22 years of age. So I'm gonna look up Lando Norris, and I found him in this line right here, and I'll just copy his number here, copy it. I'm gonna lend it for this purpose, and I'm gonna shift it into here. So basically, this means my driver will be 22 when I load up the game later on. Well, as we can see in this table, there's a lot of numbers you can add and change in here. One of the numbers I'm going to change is the retirement age, because I want my driver to retire when he's 39. He's not retired yet, so we can leave this at 0. If someone is retired, you can change this to 1. You can change the gender of the person as well. 0 is for male, and 1 is for females, and that's that. So we'll keep it a male for now at 0. Base morale, well, that speaks for itself. Is generated staff, yes he is. And the best F1 position in game since game start. It's not applicable in this moment in time. Now I do want to show you guys something in case you might ever want to add a name in this game, because you can just name your driver like you want to. You will have to look, for example, in this table right here, and if I'm not mistaken, it is staff forename pool. You have also surname pool that's gonna let you add surnames as well, but in this case I'll only do a forename. Staff forename, here you can see all existing forenames in the game. Well, for all intents and purposes, what I'm gonna do is just add mine into it. How do I do this? My forename is Francesco in full. I'm gonna insert a record in this table. It's always the same button with with the green plus, and again this does the same name as basically everything in this editor. I know for a fact that the locale 14 is Italy, so I'll use 14 in this case. If you want to identify another locale, you just have to go with whatever name is and where it's from, and then just add the number of it all. So I'm going to change this into staff name underscore forename, and it's a male name, so it's a male, and I'm going to call it Francesco. There it is, and press enter. Now if I do this, I can now add Francesco as our new driver's name. I'm not going to do it. This is just to show you how it's done if you want to add your own forename into the game. There is a slight problem though, which is not solved yet. If you do this with surnames or other names, your name might not jump up in the game, and that's gonna make your game crash as well. So like if you see your in your in-game screen when you have all the driver's positions during the race, where you have those abbreviations like Hamilton HAM or Verstappen as VER, you're not going to see that, unfortunately. So we have created this name, but we're going to leave it for now as is. Now before I forget what we were doing, we are gonna change the driver's driver data, because we're gonna need to do that as well. So we're gonna go to staff, and now going to driver data. Now as you can see, all these drivers here are filled up to 278, so our driver is still missing. So what are we gonna do? Same as always, insert a new record, boom. Well, this is our new one, 279, but it needs to be our staff ID, so we have to change this, and it's going to be with this little drop down menu, 291. There he is. Thank you. So what are we going to do with driver data? In driver data we can edit some driver data, basically. His improvability, so that means how much can your driver improve over time. We'll just pump it up to 80 for now. His aggression, we'll pump that down, basically. It's not always as good, but well, let's make an 11. His driver code is basically going to be the abbreviation in the game. Placeholder, we're going to change that into Massa, because his last name was Massa. There we are. Once a champion driver number, once he's become a champion, if we press 1 here, he will want to, and if we do 0, he won't. But I like to be number 1 once I'm a champion in the drivers championship, so I'll press 1 here. Last known driver number is going to be 19, because that's my favorite number. There we are, 19. There it is. Assigned car number doesn't need to be filled, because our driver is going to be a free agent. Excuse me. Our driver has race enough to join F1. That we need to add here as number 1. This driver will probably not be eligible to drive for a team, because he's a new addition to the game. If you add a contract to this driver, I know for a fact that it will work. Free agents do have a little glitch where they don't listen to this value, number 1 right here. So after we've done all this, we go to our next area, and that is gonna be I'll have to look it up, one moment. Oh yes, we will have to change his stats, or his abilities, to be honest. We are going to do that by going to staff performance stats. That's going to be this table right here. There we have all the stats of all personnel in Formula 1 Manager 22. These can be drivers, these can be engineers, these can be chief directors or whatever. If you remember, Lewis Hamilton had staff ID number 1 in this game, so everything which has staff ID number 1 is going to be Lewis Hamilton. Those are those first 9 lines. Those are his stat IDs, meaning these are the abilities of the drivers. His max value is going to be 100. That's going to be for everyone all the same, basically, and the actual values of his abilities are shown in this line right here. So what are we going to do? All drivers have the current stats or the current abilities. Number 2 for cornering, number 3 for braking, number 4 for control, 5 is for smoothness, 6 is for adaptability, 7 is for overtaking, 8 is for defense, 9 is for acceleration, and 10 is for accuracy. So what do we need to do to add our abilities to our driver? Same process as always. We'll have to insert a new record in this table, because as you can see, this is filled up to 290, and our driver Federico Massa has staff ID 291, so he's still not in here. So I'm going to press on this again, insert a new record, and this is going to make pop up a table. There it is. Staff ID is going to be 291. Stat ID number 2 again is for cornering. His max value is going to be 100, like everyone else, and his value for this is going to be 60. And if I'm done with these values and I think it's okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to have to do this 9 more times for the rest of his abilities, or 8 more times, excuse me, and we do that basically the same way as we just did. Insert a new record. This one, it's going to be staff ID 291, because that's Federico Massa. His stat ID is going to be number 3 for braking this time, with a max value of 100, and his value is going to be here 86, and I'll just save it. Again, I'll scroll down just to see that it's been added, and that I don't forget which skill to add next. Staff ID 291, that's us. Stat ID number 4 this time for control. Value is going to be 59 out of 100. Saving it. Boom. Dropping down. Going to do the same thing again. Insert a new record. 291. His stat ID is going to be number 5 next time. Was it 5? Yeah, 5 for smoothness, indeed. 5 for smoothness. Oh, this guy's mega smooth. 92. It's Italian after all. There he goes. Save it. Boom. There we are. 5. We're going to need to add a few more. 291. His stat ID number 6 is going to be for adaptability. It's going to be decent. 66 out of 100. Save. Hopla. Boom. 291 for stat ID number 7, and 7 is going to be overtaking. Well, he has to learn still a little bit. Let's make this 66 out of 100 and save it. We're almost there because we're at 7. Boom. Into another row. 291. That's our driver. Stat ID number 8 is going to be for defense. Well, he's Italian, so he's going to kick ass at defending. 97 out of 100. There you go. Save. Boom. There he is. Well, the last 2. 291 for his ID. His stat ID for acceleration. It's number 9. His value is going to be, well, let's say 57 out of 100. Save it. There we go. And for the last ability, we have to fill in 291 as a staff ID, stat ID number 10, value. Oh, this is going to be accuracy, by the way. I will make it, let's say, 82 out of 100. Save. So there's a formula which will determine the overall score for your driver. I don't know it by memory. I have written it down somewhere, but this is just a quick little adaptation of what you can do, basically. What we are going to do next, I will show you what we can do with career history. Let me see. Staff career history, because this might just solve our problem regarding if we can sign him or not immediately. What I'm going to do is I will edit this driver right here. We have to insert another record into career history. Well, as we can see, 291 is our driver. Team ID, ooh, that's going to be Ferrari is going to be number 1, I believe. So what we are going to do, this is basically if you want to add him to a team and he has a history there, you can make it, you can fill it up in here. We're not going to do it, by the way, now. It's going to be a lot of time. I'm not exactly sure about the codes as well. You might just copy and paste the stuff you want to be using here. Again, you can see here Hamilton, staff ID number 1, team ID number 4 might be when he started at Mercedes, and when you go to number 3 was Charles Leclerc, I believe, or let me see, no, I'm lying, no, because number 1 is Ferrari, so Charles Leclerc is number 2, and these are his starting days at Ferrari. So we can basically use this code right here, maybe. Yes, we can, or even better, we can use these as his old F3 or F2, whatever it was, data. That's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do, our staff ID is going to be 291, team ID number 9 is, I believe, something down in the minor league, so F3 or F2, so I'm going to use 9 for now. And what I'm going to do here, start day, just use the same one that Charles Leclerc has here, excuse me, here, and that's going to be 43101, 43101, and I'm going to use this one, 43465, 43465, yes, and that is going to be saved for now. There we go, and there we see a new addition made down here. And basically what we can do now is the last part I want to show you is going to be staff contracts. Our driver is not going to be here because he's a free agent, but as you can see, number 1 is our good friend Lewis Hamilton. He has his staff ID of number 1. He has accepted the contract someday, any day in the past, with Mercedes, who has a team ID of number 4, and he's the first driver, or he is in car 1, and that means that's why what the number 1 is doing here. If you have a 3 here, it means you're a reserve driver. If you have a 2, you're in car 2. You can determine how the contract's length, when it's going to end, 2025, 24, 22, whatever. You can fill in the salaries. The opinionated numbers you can just leave as is. You can add some bonuses to the contract if you want to make it more realistic or something like that, or more incentive for your driver. And this is what you can do for everyone. But again, our driver is a free agent, so we are not gonna do that. What we are doing now is save all this, because we're basically finished with all this. And we're going to do that by clicking on the left upper corner here. In English it'll say File, and then we're going to go to this right here. This is going to save your changements, or save your edits, or save your adjustments, whatever it is called in English, I don't know, but save your adjustments. And that's what I'm going to do. So I've saved this, it's all fine and dandy. Now I can close it down. And we're back in our desktop, and what we have to do now is repack all this, what we've edited, into a save file which will work. And how do we do that? Well, we go back to my Word file, because I don't know no, not the Word file. We're gonna go to this guide right here. I'll show you the links later, and I need this little line right here. I'm gonna copy this, because I have to repack it. I'm going back to my command line, and fortunately my location line is still in here for where my save file is saved, because that is what we need. We need to be in this folder right here, because this is our save. We're going to repack this file right here, save 13. We're going to repack it with whatever is in here. So this is the location you have to be having set here. With me it's username Cesco SavefileRepacker. It can be something else with you, as long as it's this location right here. So I am gonna have to add this line right here. I'm gonna paste it into here, but remember my save is called save13, so not autosave.save. So what am I gonna have to do is delete the last part. Gonna enter save13.sav, and after I've done this I have to press enter, which I'm going to do now. It loaded quite briefly something. The location has been added to whatever it was. That's all good. Basically we don't need this anymore, we can close it down. So we're all going to close this down, minimize this. I'm just going to refresh this for a moment. Boom, as you can see here, the local time is just past midnight. Here's my save file. What I'm going to do is copy it from the SavefileRepacker folder. There it is, copy. Now I have to put it to where my actual save files are for Formula 1 Manager, which is going to be my C disk. In my case it's going to be users and Cesco, app data, local, back to F1 Manager, saved, save games. Well, this is my original save file, which I'm going to replace by right clicking and pasting it. Now it's going to ask me to replace it. Yes, I want to. Thank you very much. So basically my save file has been replaced by the file we've just edited at 13 past midnight, and we can close this down, see if it works. Now we just need to open the game up. This might take a little second, and we can see if what we've done works. I hope I can sign him this time, but I want to play it anyway. So there we go. Game is starting up. Yes. Good. My music is quite loud. I'm gonna load my career, this is the save file we edited last. It's 13 past midnight, if you remember. I'm going to load it. Load this game. And we are going to see if we have our driver in here. Drivers. We are going to scout for him. And we are going to look for Federico Massa. There he was 22 years of age. We are going to scroll down here. Oh, there he is. Boom. Federico Massa. As I said, we don't have the ability to yet change pictures. We still cannot sign him, unfortunately, because he's not braced into F2 or F3 yet. I would have hoped that that would have been changed, but unfortunately, no. So basically, what we are going to do is going to check what was his history. Okay, that was maybe the old teams there. Oh well, doesn't matter. Basically, this is how it works. Our driver is in there. If we allocate him a contract, it will appear in this line right here to where Sainz and Leclerc are, but you will have to remove their contracts from the table. And how you do that was in staff underscore contracts. You look at their staff ID. Leclerc is going to be number 2, and you just right click on the row on the left side of the table and delete the whole record. And same thing for Sainz. You're going to look up his staff ID. I believe it's 11, so you'll have to right click on where it says staff ID 11, so that the whole row appears blue, and you just delete that record as well. So that was my explanation for how to add a driver to your existing databases. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something, and with this I wish you a pleasant evening. Bye bye.